Alright everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes video with Fat Phil, and today we're going to be talking about the Order 66 raid, and particularly if we are going to be seeing some changes from Capital Games, and there are some ridiculous undermanned teams that are currently happening inside of this raid. And I want to just give a shout out to this player in Maw. Again, I don't know how to pronounce their name, but let me pull up the screen capture here just to show you, and then we'll kind of talk about this a little bit more. So right here, 18 million, which, by the way, hilarious name. But when you look at this 18 million, it was 5 teams at 3.6 million. 5 teams at the max here. And look at those splits, particularly looking at the Tarkin clones, the Jedi Master Mace Windu. There's some interesting splits going on here that I think if I am Capital Games, I am a little bit nervous that that is happening. So with that, guys, we're going to kind of discuss this a little bit. Do I think they will nerf the raid? Is it going to stay in? Because there's a lot to unpack here. It's not just oh yeah, we've got to do this because people are getting max. There's more that goes into it that I think we need to figure out. So I'm going to give you guys my thoughts, give you my advice kind of moving forward again, and get into more of what is going on. So go ahead, please like and subscribe, comment down below. Give a shout to the channel members. They do a lot, whether it's on stream or off stream. Just being there for me. You guys are the best, and I really appreciate, the fact that you guys feel I'm a good enough content creator to be a member of. So I really appreciate it, guys. If you're ever interested, below, that link is below, along with the link to our Discord. My apologies for cutting quickly. I got trigger happy talking about this topic. So I really do appreciate these guys. Sorry for the quick kind of intro and out of it. But anyway, let's talk about this Order 66 raid. So, as I showed you guys, that player was able to get 5 teams at the Relic 9 tier at the launch. And particularly, I'm looking at these splits right here, right? These splits right here are where I think there are some problems, right? So I'm going to pull up a calculator here. Now, when we look at the raid, you need to first understand the crates. That to max crate the raid, you need 520 million points. Right? So again, let me just, whoops, I guess we can't see that. There's 520 million right there. You need 520 million points to max crate the raid. So, when we take that 520 million, and you divide that by 50 players, you need to average 10.4 million points per player. Alright, that's not that bad, 10.4 million. But with these splits that we have above here, right, with the splits that we have above, if you take 3.6 million and multiply that by 3, you're already at 10.8 million points. So with just these 8 characters at Relic 9, you're getting 10.8 million points. You don't need to do any other upgrades to your account, nothing else. That's crazy. That is crazy. Like, even if you are like, I can't get to Relic 9, this is ridiculously good for players. That these teams splitting like this, getting to that score is insane. Especially when you think about how many players are willing to take these dark side clones to Relic 9. Mace Windu and Depa, like, there's a lot of players who will have those characters. And again, I'll make sure to show the Relic player data in another video at some point. But, like, that is ridiculous. I'm already, if I did this, I'm at a max crate, and I haven't even added in the other teams that I'm, working on, right? Because as you saw with that guy, he had a Relic 9 Bad Batch and Relic 9 other Jedi Vanguard team that scored 3.6 million. And I think the problem that we're going to see here, and the problem that Capital Games is going to have to face, is these splits. They tried to say, hey, undermans aren't really supposed to work, right? It's in the details, right? Where it says is, Lord Vader can't be targeted. He's immune to cooldown turn meter. At the start of battle, Lord Vader has 25 stacks of execute, reduced to 15 if there were fewer than 5 enemies. So even bringing a 4-man team reduces his stacks by 10, which is nuts, right? So even with them taking that reduction for a undermanned squad, people are still going here. So they even tried to stop undermans, and it's still working. So there's that aspect where it's like, I don't know how they can fix it. And then it's also the element of, all right, there's not a bug going on. Like, it's just the, players are just taking advantage of, let me close out of the calculator again here. It's just players kind of taking advantage of the, bonuses that are here at the Relic 9 tier, right? All these bonuses that have kind of stacked up, it's just taking advantage of those and recognizing what goes into that. So with that, you're like, okay, you probably can't nerf it because there's no bugs. It's not like it's, this would be a not working as intended fix, which I feel like they're in a lose-lose situation, because if you do nerf this raid, the player base will freak out saying, why didn't you test this? Yada, yada, yada. This is ridiculous. And if you do nothing, this raid is going to last a year. And that's the problematic part here. This raid's going to go on for a year. So if you have guilds now who are going to max create the raid day one, which we knew that would happen, but I think a lot more are going to be able to do that or max create, the next one. That's kind of a problem, right? It's also at the same time a problem because I think their intention, in my opinion, the way at least I saw it, was that, they kind of structured it into like tiers, if you will. All right, people are going to get their box, at launch. Then when Mace Windu comes back, guilds are going to see an increase in their box. When GL Hondo gets released, guilds will see an increase in their box. Mace Windu would have come back, like that. Their plan was, I think, if I had to guess, was that early on only the top guilds get max create, and then it increases as more characters are brought to the game and people are investing. But with the splits happening the way that they are, I think a lot more guilds are going to feel inclined to get those dark side clones. Like, that becomes the most valuable freaking team in the game, right? Can you, 5 characters scoring that you're going to farm already that are really, really good, 3.6 million for each of those. I mean, that's nuts, right? This is crazy, crazy, crazy talk. And with this with this raid lasting a year, this takes all the pressure off of players to have to chase GL Hondo for anything other than his performance in the game. And that's the same thing that I brought up about Ahsoka. That's a problem with her, right? She's a nothing character. There's no reason that you need to rush Ahsoka because she doesn't have an economy event. She wasn't a part of a raid. It's purely just based off of her performance. And at least with Hondo, a lot of us were anticipating that, hey, you know what? He's needed for the raid, and, he's going to have a performance aspect, right? Like, if we go up here, like, Hondo, okay, yeah, he's at least going to be needed for the raid, and there's a performance aspect. But if all of us are getting this max crate because of these undermanned splits, because of the way that it's designed, now Hondo's going to fall into that same group of, yep, just a performance character. Unless they do some other things, which I don't know if they will or not. And that, to me, is why I kind of fall on the side of they're going to do something about this, is because you have to protect the asset of Hondo. Because otherwise, if it's a second Galactic Legend in a row that the player base is less than enthusiastic about, less than thrilled is coming, and less than, not participating, that's not good, right? Now, I do think that some of this is on them, that they definitely, I think, rushed this raid. I think we've all kind of felt that, and I think maybe this is them kind of owning up to that. Like Ali Gal says it down there. Honestly, it's their fault. Like, now, I don't know that they should have seen it coming, but it is their fault that the way they've tried to design these raids is they lock it behind relic levels. They lock it behind those bonuses to say, hey, you know what? If you want to do well, you get all of these things. And I think the way I view it, the way I feel it is, the tiers for those guilds who are willing to invest in the max, right? Like, they're just taking advantage of the fact that you have all those bonuses there and that you might not need a leader ability because of how powerful the bonuses are, right? I mean, there's some ridiculously good bonuses. So, do I think they're going to nerf it? My head says they're not going to do it. My head says it's going to be more work for them to try to figure out how to nerf this raid. The effort that will go into trying to fix this raid will set them behind for the next one, which poses problems of its own. Because that's what I think happened between Naboo and whatever was Ahsoka was supposed to be meant for, is they were too busy trying to fix Naboo that the other raid got delayed and then eventually canceled, and that's where this one came in. And it feels a little bit rushed because they had to stop working on one and move to the next one. So there's an aspect there that I think is at play of my head says no, because they're going to have to spend more time at fixing it and then making sure that, everything else is working. Like, you fix this for, this, and now all of this has to change, right? So there's an aspect there. It's like, what do you do? How does this work? The other side, my gut kind of says they're going to fix this because, like I said, they have to protect Hondo. Because if guilds don't feel the need to get Hondo to push for a max crate here, and even realistically, if I'm honest, if you get the dark side clones, right, your entire guild gets dark side clones and brings them to Relic 9, 5 Relic 9s, right? And you say, oh my gosh, Phil, that's so crazy. But how many of you sit there with 5 GLs at Relic 9, right? If you're watching this video, go comment down below if you have 5 Galactic Legend, 5 non-requirements at Relic 9. I just want to know how many of you are out there with those on your GLs. That imagine you did that for your clones, and for the next year, what that brings to your account. Like, that's why my gut says I think they will do something, is because I think this is just, it's like, you're gonna say player friendly or whale friendly. Like, it's really, really crazy that it's this good, and the ramifications of that long term to some of their other things that they're intending could be severe. What I want to leave you guys with, if you're like, Phil, I'm not going to Relic 9 these characters, I can't do that. I still think a lot of you have seen the positives to this raid. There's still a lot of really good ways to, Tarkin can solo 300k, Hondo can solo 300k, Nest can solo 300k. Like, there's a lot of teams that are working really well that with the right strategy and a little bit of modding, it feels very natural and it feels good. And if you are a free to play, you should take some encouragement that you're already seeing some good things coming out of this. So, I'm very positive about this raid, and I was positive about it before, and I said it was going to be a lot more player friendly than we imagined, and I think we're seeing that, and I think we're seeing it a little bit more than even I thought, because I was anticipating a lot more Relic 9s to max crate, and now it's not looking like that many at all. So, again, my gut says something's going to happen, but my head says I don't think it will, because it's more work for them than not. And again, it's a lose-lose. You change the raid, the community's going to freak out. You leave it go, and you've made getting a max crate, which used to be a big deal in a lot of these raids, relatively attainable for anybody, any guild that's, halfway towards that late to end game. Pretty attainable to do that. So yeah, folks, let me know what your thoughts are. How did your guild do in this raid compared to where you were in Naboo? Was it surprising to you how relatively easy it felt to play? Again, I think there's a lot of really good stuff, as I talked about yesterday, but I did want to bring this up because I do think that this Underman poses a whole lot of problems for CG, but guidance for the community. What I'm going to warn you, I would only invest in these teams and try to make this work if you are willing to not have them, if they change the split, right? Like, here's the way to phrase this. If you weren't intending to Relic 9 these characters, I don't know that I would go and do it, because if they go back and they nerf this, I do not think they're going to give you your resources back, right? I do not think they're going to give those back. So, like, if you go and put Relic 9s on all your dark side clones, and then they come back and are like, you cannot enter this raid without a leadership ability, then, like, that could be, just think about that. Are you still going to be satisfied that you have those Relic 9s? Is that still something that you would feel is a worthwhile investment? For some of us like me, yes, it is. But for some of you, maybe that's not worth the while if you're not able to double up on the score like this. So, again, guys, just let me know your thoughts. I'm very curious how everybody feels about this. Like, is this a, pie in the face moment, or is this a, hey, you know what? Maybe, you know what? Maybe Capital Games is pleased with this. Maybe they did know that, like, there's a side of here where maybe they knew that this would happen. And maybe they're okay with it, knowing that it's getting people to interact with Relic 9 and interact with these new characters. That is something that they really have been pushing. So I'm not completely, that's maybe something that could be discussed at a later time of, is this part of their plan to get people to start investing in Relic 9s and invest in these earlier teams to show that potential they have to be good. Food for thought. Love you all. If you're still watching right now, go ahead. Wampa is king in the comments. You all know the drill. You are the best. Thank you. May the force be with you. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers, my friends.